Cloud. I'm so excited. Oh
Oh,
my
I'm
God.
honored. Thank you for having me.
I'm very excited to have you on. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. What we were talking about? We were talking about like student loans.
We were talking about student loans. Yeah.
Oh my God, I hate them. And let me tell
I'm
you
sorry you had to
something.
go over that.
Today
Do
I
you want
was
me to
like,
tell them what I went through?
let me tell you something. Today I'm like going through like, okay, well, I'm about to move. Let me like make sure, I have everything. All my addresses changed. And when it got to the point
Oh
that I
my
had
God,
to
that's
go
a pain.
through my student loan, I want to disappear from their database. I want to disappear completely from their
But you will
database.
have to go off the grid. Like burner phone. You can't work with
like
your thoughts. So
like
like,
fake my own death,
yeah,
put
definitely.
a Machiavellian on them,
Yeah. Go to another
like
country.
go to another country. Like it's ridiculous. Like I was so I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. But anyways, this podcast is not about student
It's
loan.
not about student loan.
It's about my
About
guest,
student loan.
Cloud. Cloud, I've been wanting to get you on this podcast since I met your husband, Rick
Thank
Wind
you.
Herrera. It was so fun. If you guys haven't heard that podcast, I'm gonna have a link to that in this video. But we were talking about you. There was a moment in that podcast when we did spoke about you, and I told him I had to have her on. First of all, I
Thank
love your name. I need to know where that
my
name came
this
from.
name or
So let's
cloud?
start there. Where did
My,
Cloud come
my
from?
government name. Your question is how did I get cloud? Why am I called cloud?
Why are you called Cloud, and who is Cloud?
Okay. So I'm called cloud because I was seeing a spiritual teacher for many years who I still follow all the tools that I've been given and I'm very grateful for immensely. And during my lessons and my one-on-ones, I re-earned what's called my spiritual name. And my spiritual name was told to be Cloud. And the history behind that is that that's a name that I earned in the spiritual world. And I re-earned it now that I came back to myself and learned and grow and started discovering who and what I am and letting go all of the stuff that society and parents and friends put upon me. And during my time with her, I was able to learn that. And I'm still learning and growing because we never stop learning and growing. So that's the history behind Spiritual Cloud.
Oh my God, that's beautiful. How long were you doing that for?
I met her name is Guru Enlightenment, in case anybody is interested. And I met her I knew of her like in 2007 because I have friends who saw her. But I didn't like. I was just like, I thought that was like santeria, brujeria, no shade to that. But it wasn't my cup of tea until I finally met her in person at a workshop that she had. She used to have yearly workshops this is in New York, and I attended one, and I was just like, what you're saying is common sense, like literally common sense, and it was something that I was looking for because I was raised Catholic, and of course, Catholicism has its thing. But what drew me to church was not the laws and what man created, but the spiritual aspect of it, of being connected to a higher power. That's what drew me to it, the spiritual
Same.
part of it. But I had my issues of what the doctrine and laws that they had. And I always lived with this guilt within me and anger. And I'm like, coming to church and doing all this is not taking this away from me.
Hmm.
I'm not getting any healing from this. There's something more. I need something that's going to tap into me. And why is it that I'm doing this? And why do I feel this way? And all these questions that I had. And when I met her, that's when I found my answers. Because the way she says it, she guides you to find your answers. She guides you. She doesn't give you the answers. And she guides you, gives you tools to be able to find those. But she has more gifts, like she sees past lifetimes and future things, but she doesn't tell you exactly. You have to go through what you're going through. So I'm so grateful to this day. And yeah, like I get emotional because it's just an important part of my life and it's what I needed.
This is what this podcast is about. It's about like, keeping it real and being honest, and hopefully somebody that's listening could get your advices as well in that experience and could share that experience with you. But
And
before
I
we
would
get
love
to
that.
that,
Thank you for the opportunity for me to do that. Because I'm a private person. I'm not like social media. You don't see me posting my private life. And even in personal, I'm private unless if you ask me, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna be
yes,
transparent
that's
to
the
you
way I am as well.
if you ask me. But I'm not volunteering information. That's not
No.
who I am.
Yeah.
So But
Right?
feel free to ask anything you want. I will share. And if it helps somebody else, even better.
Right? It's like I think, podcasts do get a bad rap because there's so many of them now. But I see it differently. I see it as like, now there's more to do. Now is you don't have an excuse if you can't say I don't have a platform or no one wants
Right.
to platform me. You have now so many opportunities to do that. And yes, sometimes those things come with a bad, right? Because nothing is ever, just
Mm,
pure. Whenever there's a good, there's a bad. Whenever there's a bad, there's a good. That's the yin and yang world that we live in, right?
right.
Saying, or, another podcast, it's like, yeah, it's true. It is another podcast. But guess what? People have things to say, people have a story to share. And I think there's never too big of a stage or too small of a stage for you to tell that story. And that's the reason
Right.
why you're here. And that's the reason why Ricky was here, because to
Thank
you guys, it's never been too big of a stage, too small of a stage to tell you. And I wanna learn more about that from your perspective as well. And the cloud being your spiritual name, my
you.
spiritual name is Monsterpiece.
How did you get that?
Through my own spiritual journey. I kind of wish I had a spiritual healer. I wish I had someone like that in my life. But I got that name, but I don't use it anymore. I used to use it when I was doing a boxing podcast. Shout out to the boxing boys.
Nice.
Yeah, so everybody had a monocle or a I think is how you say it, monocle, something like that.
Okay.
It's like what boxers would have as like their name or their nickname.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Gotcha.
So mine was Monsterpiece, and I got
You
it
so you
because
were one of the hosts of the boxing
I
podcast?
was a co-producer, and
Gotcha.
sometimes I would join calls and stuff like that. Yeah.
Will you interview like real boxers? This is not about
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. I
Let's
went to
go.
I went to Media Day a couple of times. I
Oh my
traveled to
god.
LA for events with the podcast.
Nice.
No, he's still going. He has like over 200,000 followers. The guy, I learned so much from him. I can't say enough good things. Like I
Mm,
wish it would have worked out in terms of that becoming my career. But
right.
it is at the end of the day a small business. And the best thing to do is to go on your own always. And it took me some time to do that. But before that, the reason why I call myself Masterpiece was because I went through a series of changes in my life with my body, with my health, and I wasn't really looking the same because there was a period of time between me doing all of these like shows and doing school plays and going to acting and
Right.
then college where I was very sick. And so all of that kind of took a back seat. So being the artistic, quote unquote, artistic person that I am, I needed a name to call myself that, kind of like
Mhm.
a artist name. It started when I was in MySpace. It was From Human to Creep. That was my because Creep was my one of my favorite songs from Radiohead. And then I was like, you know what? I like Masterpiece, but Monsterpiece because I do love vampires and I find them to be one of my favorite monsters. So it was kind of a combination of a lot of things. Yeah, there's so many references that I took to kind of just be like, I think Masterpiece is it's gonna be my
That's
spiritual.
dope. That should be your like Instagram name or something.
I wish I would have kept it. I honestly wish I would have kept it.
Who said it's not yours? You
I mean,
got
it
it.
still is technically.
Right.
I want to know more, and I had that question here. Like, take me back to when you were living here, because you don't live
Mhm.
here anymore.
I
And that
know.
was a connection you and I had
I'm
that
still
Rick
New Yorker,
told me
people.
about. He was like, "Oh, 135th?
Yup.
That's where my wife is from." And I was like, "You
Shout out to
kidding me?"
135th between Broadway and Riverside.
Shout out to
New York
135th
City.
right here. I'm like crazy. So take me back. Like, how did Cloud, the artist, now came about?
How did I get into the arts? I would say I got into the arts since I was a little girl, to be honest. I will always watch PBS with the music and the dancers.
Yeah.
When I watched the ballet, the dancing, like I would literally imitate what they were doing. And I could have sworn that I was a dancer. In addition to playing with my sister, Glory, shout out to Glory, who her and I would do role playing games and all that. What you did in acting or improv, we would do that at home naturally as kids. So I really used my imagination and creativity. That was like my go-to to playing, which I appreciate my childhood a lot. And fast forward to when I was in elementary school, I got involved in anything art related, but I was also shy. I was a shy kid, and the only way I knew how to express myself, because I didn't grow up communicating much. I wasn't taught that. My family didn't really communicate. We didn't talk about deep conversations. And I learned about my period through my sisters, stuff like that, old generation. So writing, I would journal a lot. I had a diary. I have many diaries, which I felt bad that I threw them away. Like now that I'm older, I'm like, I don't got my like
Why
teenage
would you
diary
throw them away?
because
Those
when I
were
was a
like
teenager and at that time I was dumping stuff. So, ¿qué sabía yo que in the future this would be valuable to me? Yo no sabía nada. Bota eso, whatever. When you're cleaning out the closet, and the closet, we didn't have much closet space in that apartment
oh my
underneath it.
gosh, small
So
ass
you have to
apartments.
dump stuff to add the stuff that you have new. So that's why. But I would journal and write a lot. That was like my way of venting and communicating. And then fast forward to when I got to junior high school, I was in the STAR sub school, and shout out to IS 195, Roberto Clemente. I think you went there, right?
I did.
Shout out to IS 195, Roberto Clemente. They had sub schools. So they had stars, different like subjects, right? Because I always had great grades. But I always wanted to be in either drama or dance. When I was going to go to eighth grade, I made it my business because my best friend was in dance. I want to go to dance sub school, and I'm going to find a way how to get there. So I literally like changed. I changed from stars and I went to dance. And that's when the whole journey began. That's where I got my training. From dance, I went to Seward Park High School, which also had the performing arts. So they had a dance, drama, like they had different subjects at the time when high school had performing arts. My major was dance, but I was in drama, vocal. I got musical theater training for free when I was in high school. So I had a vocal coach where I would go after school to Henry Street Settlement to take vocal classes. I would take dance classes on the side. And then within the school, I was involved in the theater department, and we would do our own musicals with Sam, who would direct all these musicals, and we'll be involved. And it was literally like after school, that would be our thing. So I was literally
Yeah.
auditioning and doing everything at that time. I
Yeah.
even was auditioning for outside projects. I even got my headshot then. So like all that happened by me looking for that,
Right.
because
Seeking
my
it
parents
out.
couldn't
Yeah.
afford dance classes. So I was like, okay. And I understood there's 5 kids. There are 5 of us, 7 people in the family. My father's the only one working. My mom was a stay-at-home mom after my third sister was born. And I was like, I have to find a way. I understand my parents can't pay, but I have to find a way. And I did. And from then on, I just got involved in acting. It kept going. Then in college, I got into psychology, but theater was also my major. So it just kept going and going. And that's how I became an actor. That's how I got involved in the business. And yeah,
That's
and I'm still
amazing.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think about all those programs and all those like community type of like theaters that I was talking to Rick about that her husband. I was talking to him about the Raul Julia unit that I used to be
Yeah.
acting.
Yeah. 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 Yes.
And it was part of the Puerto Rican Traveling Theater. And I think they're still around. I think after the podcast, I kind of got curious and I was like, let me go
Is
and
it
check
still
to see if they're
around?
still around. The Puerto Rican Traveling Theater obviously is still around.
Yeah, I
They
know
still
that
do a
they're
lot of
still
shows, they still do a lot of events. But in terms of the Raul Julia unit, that I didn't see much. They probably do like I did see something like in the 2020 or 2021, I can't remember, but it's not as consistent. It's not like something like, for example, the Pit Improv, right? Where you can always just go in and sign up
yeah.
for classes and take different turns. I didn't see it like that. And I remember when I was in the Raul Julia unit, it was kind of like that. I think they had a summer one and I think they also had like a winter one. So it was really kind of sad to see like these type of things aren't so easily available. But
I
there
know,
are
especially kids
places.
in
I'm not
public
saying that they
school.
aren't. There are out
Right,
there. It's just
right,
they're
right,
not as part of the school as they used to be. They're not
which is
as part of
unfortunate.
our culture anymore.
Yes,
Our culture is so like influencer and being online, starting a podcast. Like
and then
nobody
the
gets
school is just
out.
math, science, reading. But creativity is a whole part of we need creativity in our lives. You cannot, you need to be creative to run a business. Like you need that in your life. And it's so sad that that's the first things that goes when kids go to school. And it's like, instead of having a tablet, the kid could be in an acting class or something, venting, letting
Something
out their emotions,
productive, letting out
because
their
it's another
emotions,
tool for that help
exactly.
them role play what they it's kind of like drama therapy or art therapy or musical
Or
therapy, music
sports.
therapy
Or sports.
or
Like, it's the same
sports.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the same thing,
yeah.
like, you kids need to get out. Like,
They
I
need an
remember
outlet.
I was out and about when
Me too.
when I was, like, a teenager. I was hanging out with my best friends down by 14th Street. Like, you got out of your house. And for me, it was
Right,
really it was also balancing, right, like, this new found art form for me as well, because I
right,
think as I was an immigrant child, because I was born in
right.
Dominican
Same.
Republic and I came here when I was baby. You were born in Dominican Republic too?
No, you were born. No, I was born in New York, but both
No,
my
I
parents
was
were
born
from
in
New York.
Dominican. I came here when I was a
Mm,
baby. Technically, I was raised here, you know what I mean? You
right,
could
but you're
technically say she was born here, but, I grew up with a very immigrant family.
right. Same.
So, it was also balancing what I was getting exposed to and also the passion that I had for my culture and the music of my
Right,
culture
right,
and the art from my culture.
right.
I wonder if you like, how did Dominican culture like shape some of the artwork that you have been involved for, whether it's your
Mm.
acting, whether it's your dancing, whether it's your spoken word? Like, I know you were born here, so I'm curious as to like what has been your experience into tapping into your culture and also
Man, that's a great
being
question.
part of the New York City art scene, you know?
So currently, I'm gonna go currently first. So now I'm in Arizona, and after I took a hiatus off from being full time like actor, auditioning, having an agent, and all that, I got pregnant, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna focus on the first year with my daughter and being a mom, which is the best role of my life and gift.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that
And
because that's a big
that's
part of
when I
your
told
life.
my agents like, "Hey, I'm stepping away. This is my purpose right now, and I might be back." But at that time, I didn't know. I said I'll be back after a year. At that time, I didn't know I was moving. But then once we made the move, it changed for me. Like I didn't feel like how sometimes people feel like depressed, like man, like I gave it up. I didn't feel like I gave it up. I feel like I entered a new chapter in. And the chapter that I am now creatively is storytelling, which I found here in Arizona. I knew it existed when I was in New York, but and I was already working on writing my own pieces, but I hadn't shared it with people. And not until I came to Arizona was I able to share things that I've been writing about my life personally and sharing it to strangers in the world, something that I kept with me writing in a book or with people who knew me, but there were stories that nobody knew about, and I would share it. And I have found such a blessing and just a different way, powerful way of creating that fulfills me the same way that acting fulfilled me being in a theater. Even though I'm not gonna say I will not take I would take a role if they'd be like, hey, there's a theater. Of course, 'cause that's my love. But I found another love with acting and is sharing my own stories. And when I always thank him because I remember when I was writing, I was like, I want to write, but I don't know what to write about, whatever. He's like, write about yourself. And this was when we were friends. And I was like, you know what? That's true. But then I'm like, I don't got nothing to write about. What am I going to write about? And then, of course, you know how Wind is. He went deep. And because at that time he had done his first show.
Wow.
And I was like, you know what? That's true. So he inspired me to write more about me. And then as I was going through, now that I'm here in Arizona, I've been doing that with storytelling. And I added poetry, like I've done some poems, and dancing is still in my life because I'm tap dancing. So as far as my culture, I bring that with me because all my stories are about my culture, about how I grew up, my upbringing. I have poems about talking about my culture, my hair, my blood, my roots, what that means to me. And that's a part of me. And being mad at what's happening now in society, that this is what we call home, but it's not really home, right? To them, it's not really our home, but this is our home. We were raised here. And who are you to say that this is not our home? Earth is our home. So why separate this into countries and this? Like I go into stuff like that with things that I've written. Like why separate these names of places if this is our home? We were born on this planet.
Yeah.
So that's how I bring my culture into my work. And in the past, I would bring my culture into my work because of my accent. People are like, "Where are you from?" So they'll hear the New
You
York,
should
but
have
they
been
also
from New
hear the
York.
Dominican. So I have a combination of Dominican and New Yorker because I spoke Spanish first. So sometimes when I speak, they're like, "Where are you from?" Because I have the Spanish wants to come out before the English. Or
It's
when
the
I think about
Spanglish.
something,
You
yeah,
got
it's
the
the Spanish. I'm
Spanglish
like,
going
wait,
on.
wait, wait. So if I hope that answers your question, but I feel like it's always a part of me.
Of course.
I have a story for you. I went to LA and I met an agent, and I went to LA for 2 weeks. This was back in 2004. And I went and it was for like a casting director agent session. You go for a whole 2 weeks, like nonstop. You're meeting people, you're going through scenes. And one agent was like, "Do you speak Dominican Spanish? I mean, Mexican Spanish?" And I'm like, "Spanish is Spanish. I understand that there's dialects for different countries, but Spanish is Spanish." That's what I believe.
A
As long
hundred
as you
percent.
so I was just
But
like,
why not just why they don't just cast a Mexican then? It's like,
and that's why I said that's when I decided I'm not moving to LA because that's what I was thinking of moving to LA. And I was like, I don't think so. And then it just kept happening. Like my universe was just like I wasn't meant to go to LA, and I knew it
yeah,
just from so many reasons. But that was just like one of the ones that I was just like, check. If I'm meant to go there, it will happen. But I'm
it
not
was.
moving there.
That's how I see it. I don't feel like I feel like it's strange that you moved to Arizona though, considering the kind of work that and the kind of like things that you and Rick were involved in terms of the stage,
Right,
producing, directing these shows,
right,
etc.
right, right.
Like I was
But there's
surprised
a
you
big
guys moved
community
to
here.
yeah, oh, there really is. Well,
There's
I'm
a
looking
big
forward
creative
to
community here. So
tell me
that
about it. Yeah.
there's like there's everything improv. There's everything here. There's everything, and we're just like when we go to these like storytelling events or all the different pockets that we've been to, we're like, oh man, we feel like we're in New York because you find a community there, and it's funny because I feel like anywhere you go where there's a creative community, you feel like you're back because I feel like creatives we're in tune. We're open to different cultures. We're embracing to people's stories. It's all about community and supporting each other. And it's not this fakeness. Of course, you find your fake people, but I feel like here I'm grateful for the communities that we have found in the improv community, the storytelling community, the poetry community. Like the piece of New York is still there.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's just refreshing. Otherwise, I would have been like, we leaving in a year. We're getting
I'm
out of here.
pretty sure. I'm pretty sure
That's
you're
why
yeah,
we've
you're
been here as
absolutely
long
right.
as we have. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you love it? Do you guys love it?
I do love it. I do love it. Yes, I miss the ocean. The ocean is calling me. We're in a desert.
Oh
And
my
I
god.
miss the food of New York and of course the people, our friends, family, and the food. I do miss it. And of course going to certain shows that they're not coming here and I'm like, damn, I want to go see that show. So yeah, I
Yeah.
do miss those things.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I was talking about with Rick, and this is a common theme throughout these podcasts, which is why I wanted to do them, is because I remember talking to you guys about my journey and the kind of things that I'm dealing with when it comes down to reconnecting with that world.
Right.
That talking about art with artists and rediscovering basically new artists in New York. Because I remember the stuff I was doing back in the days with my friends, specifically around high school when we were kind of, like I said, we were putting, high school plays together. We were dancing, we were singing.
Yeah.
It was motivation to keep going. The music scene as well. I was really into the rock scene back in the days. It was like a
Mm,
fake ass scene, emo kid, but I was always hood, so it didn't really I could never commit. Like I tried, I could never commit to the look. Shout out to my friends that did, but I was too hood for that. But I love the music because I love Spanish rock, and Spanish rock has
me
always
too.
been the Spanish culture in general has always been a big part of me. Same with you, right? And
Right.
but I've always because my family was so like they were all immigrants. Like my little brothers were first generation.
Mm,
Like the Gen Zs and this family are the first generation. Like we were very raised with our culture, and so
yeah.
always listening to Spanish music. But it's
Same.
nice to hear about how you kind of because you mentioned this earlier, and I want to kind of talk about that in a bit.
Okay.
But you mentioned how you took a step back because you wanted to have your child,
Hmm.
And being that I'm someone who had to take a step back because of my health and kind of lost my mojo, so to speak, kind of lost not that passion, but just that fire and that motivation because other things became priority. How did you break from that?
Okay. One, it was already a choice. So I thought about it. So it was something I thought about and said, okay, what are the pros and cons? This is while I wasn't even pregnant. How, how about that? Because there's a long story. I wanted to be a mom at a certain age and I didn't have a partner, nothing. But it was just all of a sudden I want to be a mom. And I didn't want to be a mom for all my life. So this is throughout years of like thinking, okay, if this happens, what am I going to do? And it was honestly just this inner, the same way you're passionate about your art, that was the same passion I had about being a mom. So I when I actually became a mom and when I was going through the first year where you get a little bit of post hormonal, because I wouldn't call myself I would have postpartum depression, but I had all the hormones going up and down and the shifting. And I was
Mhm.
going through some times where that hit me again, where the question of who am I now came. And I was struggling. I would see people like still acting and going through things, and I'm watching and I'm like, I'm not doing that anymore. Now who am I? And it hit me because I thought I was going to be okay. However, during that time, I was still doing the podcast with Win, so I still was creating. And at that time, when I had my daughter, when she was born, we did a web series, so I was still creating, but I wasn't auditioning. That because that was my full time. I was auditioning and I had a side job catering at night, but that was my full time going to auditions, waiting for the call, like all that. So that shift and it didn't hit me until I was when I gave birth. And it was like maybe after 6 months, because in the beginning I was just like focused on her. But when I had some time that it wasn't like feeding her every 2 hours or hour and a half, because girl, I did not sleep. I did not sleep.
I
So
could
when you don't think
imagine.
you
I
can
could
think about
imagine.
shit. You can't think about shit but sleep. But you can't sleep. But after that, like when I was a stay-at-home mom, basically, and Rick was the one helping us and doing everything, I was like, oh, shit, I'm the one who was doing everything before, and now I'm just a stay-at-home mom. Oh man, this is like different. And it took a while by me asking the questions, but what pulled me through this was that I know that I didn't give up. One, I knew that I didn't give up. Two, I knew this was a decision I made, and three, I had to remind myself to give myself grace because this is a big role I'm in right now. And this child needs me, and I'm a teacher to this child, and I have a big shoe to fill. So my acting and creativity will come eventually. But right now, I have to focus on her. And that's okay. It doesn't mean I left it. And when we came to Arizona, and Rick was like, oh, I'm going to look up for an improv place. And I was like, okay. And I said, then I was like, maybe I can do it. I looked for the dancing first. So I found a tap dance class because I was sending my daughter to a dance class. And I was like, well, she's going to dance. I'm looking for my tap dance class so I can do my tap dance. And then when I saw the schedule and it was worked out, I got into improv. So I slowly got into things. And because I was writing helped me because I was writing still. I was still writing while I was pregnant, while I was going through everything. That helped me through everything. And I was like, oh, these stories that I've been writing and creating, I can share it in the storytelling community. Like I can do it here because I saw so many people sharing stories. Rick went in, he did a story. Then I heard so many stories of other people, and I was like, why can't I do it? And I got into storytelling. So I feel like not giving up and being open to the things that come as well, because things are going to come to you, but you have to be open to say, hey, I'm going to open this door. Not saying, oh, I'm not going to open that door because I'm scared. I'm scared. I left this for so long. What is going to happen? No, be open to say, you know what? Fuck it. I'm opening this door. Why not? And I feel like that's how I was able to push through.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And for everyone that's listening, I think that's a very important advice, right? Not to give up and to take the opportunities when they come because you never know what you would discover about yourself through that, right?
Right. And
Like you never
also,
knew you were good at something that is still in the artistic realm. Like let's say you were a good singer, but now you realize you're actually a good actor, or you were a
right,
good actor and you actually realize you're actually a good dancer. Like you got to be open to those moments
right.
because art if you're an artistic person, you truly love art, there's no conditions. right? Of course, there's things where you're realistic about, like, okay, I can't play the guitar. So, but let's say that becomes a passion and you start learning. Who says you can't, right? There's people that start learning the piano very late into their lives. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
And I agree with you because one, I was I love challenges and I love taking challenges. And I've always been and I still am a person that likes to try every new things. And if it doesn't work, at least I know I tried. And that was one thing that when with the arts, yes, I started with dance, but I tried acting, singing, I tried them all. And I was auditioning for musical theater when I first started. And then I said, you know what? My passion right now is acting. I'm just going to focus on acting. So I focused on straight plays and film and TV and commercial print and commercials. I just focused on that. And I had dance on the side I used to dance with a dance group. And then eventually I had a knee surgery and that went down the drain. But it didn't stop me from still doing and asking myself, okay, I tried this. Okay, where do I really want to put all my energy? And I feel like that's an important question to ask for anybody. And if you step away, that's okay. Cause you know what? You need life. You need life to
You
life.
need life to
So you could
happen.
have
Yeah.
experiences to
Yes.
share. And that gives whether it's just acting and you're not sharing your own story, it gives colors to your character. Or if you are sharing your story, it gives colors to your story. It gives you more to talk about, whether it's comedy, improv, anything. So let life and step away if you need to step away and come back. And it's okay to take a break because you do need breaks too. You can't be, I used to be one that was like
No, this
nonstop
is what I
doing
gotta
everything.
do.
And yeah, I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to do this. Motherhood taught me, you know what? You need to do one thing at a time. Because I was one who would multitask my ass off. Now, ask me if I could do that things at once. She took my brain. All the stuff of my brain went to my daughter.
She took your break.
Girl, I got brain fog. Like I have
Yeah.
to do one thing at a time. And I was struggling with that at one point in my life. I was like, I used to be able to do everything. I can't do everything at once. And I had to be honest with myself, girl, you need to do one thing at a time. And that's okay. It doesn't make you any less.
It doesn't. It doesn't make you any less. And
But I
that's something
struggled with
that,
that.
yeah, I was very like depressed about having to step away from acting because I was dealing with my health. I was dealing with the consequences of that. But then I got into a relationship. And I want to talk about collaboration in a bit because my partner is a great singer.
Nice.
And I see the potential of him being a good actor as well and a good
Yeah.
spoken word person as well because he has so many life experiences. He has so much, he wear his heart on his sleeve and he's very passionate when he talks about things. He's very passionate. And so I want to talk a lot about partnership and collaboration because you and Rick produce and direct together, which is awesome because here you are coming back, right? You took your time to become a mom, you took your time to raise your child, and now you're coming back, right? And not only are you coming back, but you have a partner in Rick Wind Herrera.
Mhm.
How do you guys collaborate? How does he feed you and you feed him?
Okay, so we first started partnering when we did the podcast as working together. But prior to that, when he did his first show, he asked me to help out, and I was like a stage manager kind of person. But what meshed well with us together was the fact of our work ethic. We're both very organized. We like to be honest and straight and upfront from everything with everything that needs to be addressed. Just the way we work is similar. We're not late to things. We're on time. Even having a child, people will be shocked. Like, yeah, y'all are on time. Like, you have a kid. I got that from my dad, by the way. Got it from my dad, and also from my discipline as an artist. Because I will arrive to auditions 15 to 20 minutes before. So that work ethic.
I just wanna say really quickly, right? In auditioning, this is one of the things I learned from my teacher. He goes like, if you're right on time, you're he goes like, if you're right 15 minutes early, you're on time. If you're right 15 minutes late, don't even bother.
Yeah, that's
Just
the way he
wanted to
describes
say
all
that
the
because
time.
it's true. Go ahead.
Yeah. And it's funny because my father was raised us that way. And
Yeah,
then I go into the arts and I'm like, it's already embedded in me.
yeah.
That's how I am.
Me
So
too. I'm always on time. Also,
because of
doing makeup too. That's another thing too, because I also had to do my own stage makeup. So for
Yes.
me, getting ready, it's like
Yeah.
I'm so quick with it because
Yep.
of that discipline.
Yep. Especially like when you have to change or even changing, like you got to
Even
change
changing.
backstage with dance or theater, you got to switch costumes
Yes,
and you
yes.
find your ways. Like if you don't want to show yourself, you know the ways, or if
You know
not, you
the
just show
way.
everything. Yep.
Eh,
Yep. 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 Yep.
okay, cool. I love that we okay, so
So
that's how
back
y'all
to him.
know we went to auditions, all right?
Right.
That's how we know
So
we were part of that world.
right. So when we got into the podcast, I already had known how he worked from his first one man show, and we also bring similarities into how we work, how we like to work, and how we like to collaborate, and we're organized and all that. So that's how it works. There, yes, it's not a perfect like anything. We have clashed sometimes, but that has made us now grow further. And yeah, it's not to say that we won't clash now, but the first experience was learning, continue. It's like a relationship. We're still learning and growing, working together too. But the main thing that's important is honesty, being honest with one another. And I also like learning. I've also learned because I'm more of an emotional person than he is, not taking our argument from before and bringing it to the rehearsal. It's two separate things. So knowing that, having that balance, like right now we are coworkers, not husband and wife. So learning that's something that we had to learn. I had to learn too because sometimes I'll bring it and I'm like, wait, I can't do that.
Yeah.
But that was a learning lesson for me. Yeah, and I feel like we work well together. And if there's times that we need to change, reschedule, we reschedule. But I feel like I learn. We learn from each other. Like I learn. He's so passionate, and I love how he works and how passionate he is about what he does and believes in himself. And for me, I'm also as a director, I'm also learning how to work with my writing and what I do because he's really good at like looking at a story and be like, needs that shouldn't be there, that should be there. He's really good at that and also visualizing things. So from that, I learn a lot from him. And I feel like for me, he gets a lot of learning. I don't know, you will have to ask him. But it's a lot of give and take, I feel. And it's not what do you call it? It's like a yin and yang, if that so it balances out well.
Yeah, I think that's what makes great collaborations in general, not just romantic ones where you're married, but you also work together. I think in general, a good collaboration is about balancing each other out, right? Like that person catches something that you don't normally catch, and you catch something
Right,
the person doesn't normally
right,
catch. And yeah, work
right.
together in that kind of way, having each other's back, so to speak,
Yeah,
where if you succeed, I succeed, and if I succeed, you succeed. And so
right.
I like those type of collaborations right now. It's funny because me and my partner, and I didn't say that in the Rick episode, but me and my partner is trying to figure out how we're going to do some of these segments in the YouTube channel as well. So we kind
Yeah,
of
that'd
want to
be
get together and talk
awesome.
about our passion for film because
Oh, that'd be
unlike
great.
me, he actually is a library of movies. I'm a
You
library of
see?
movies. Like I know my movies. I like movies. I like my actors. I have my favorites. But he actually consumes it like a consumer compared to someone
Mhm.
who's who's more like
You just take it.
technical about things,
Right,
right?
right, right,
Because
right.
we not only do we love it and enjoy it and we're passionate about it, but we also have either done film or been in front of the camera or had to focus on the technical things. He enjoys this as a consumer, so his perspective is so insightful from that point of view. So we're trying to kind of do that together where we have a fan and we have a person who is either done the discipline and understands certain things, right? That he may not catch as a consumer because he's
That's
enjoying it.
that's
Yeah. I
nice.
mean, I
You
give
should
you one
definitely do
example.
it.
Yeah, I give you one example, right? Like we were rushing, I just discovered John Cassavetes because of him. So John Cassavetes is a
Really?
very famous filmmaker and actor, and he kind of pioneered the whole indie film, which is what we're part of, right? We're part of that scene. We were watching a film that he wanted me to see. But long story short, I loved the film. It was very like it was
What film
indie.
was
It
it?
was
What's
a
the name?
filmmaker's like film. It was a film for people like you and myself that if we watch it, the first thing we want to do is grab a camera and start recording.
Nice. What's the name of
Because
the film?
the name of the film is called the
I'm gonna write it down.
it's
Send it to
called
me.
The Killing of a Chinese Booking. I almost got a brain fart
Okay.
there,
You
but
gotta
it's
send me
called
that.
The Killing of a Chinese Booking. I freaking love it. He has another film that's also pretty good. It has a
I'm gonna
lot
write
of
it down.
great reviews. Is called Women Under the Influence.
No, I haven't
So
watched
he's
that.
done some really good stuff that contributed to that whole indie film culture. And he fell asleep.
He fell asleep in the movie?
Yeah. And when I was so
No,
as you can see,
he fell
no,
asleep
he
in
fell
both.
asleep to that one. To the
The
Killing of
killing
a Chinese Booking.
of the Chinese Booking. I
Yeah.
gotta write this down.
So it's a great film. It's a great film that has some really interesting shots. It's very you can
Is it
tell
great? He fell asleep.
it was so hilarious because it's one of those films like it almost looked like a student did it, but you could also see the technique in it as well.
Okay. How was the
So you
writing?
have to be in our world to understand what
Okay,
Cassavetes was doing with that film and how and why he pioneered the indie film world, right? His passion
gotcha.
for filmmaking, the whole idea that it's not really about money. And we just talking about that earlier, right? No stage is too big, no stage is too small to tell your
Right,
story. And that was
right.
his mentality, right? But he was what because he's a consumer of filmmaking, right? He's a consumer, he consumes this, he loves it.
Uh,
He fell asleep, he didn't get it. But he wants to rewatch it and give it a second chance and this time have an open eye because most likely it was because he was tired. But I was
okay.
tired too, girl. But I
But you
was
were
in
into
it.
it.
Like I was like that. Like I just loved it because it wasn't a suspenseful film. It's just the
Mhm.
way he shot it. Like I was like, I
So you
want
were
to
into
do a
more the
project like this.
technical, but not the story. Is
The
that true?
story was really basic. It was a guy that
Okay, so
owned a
you were
strip
into the
club.
technical. He was probably into the
Yeah,
story. He's like,
he was
that's what
probably like
happened.
more into
That's
the
what it
story.
sounds like.
He probably thought it was gonna be like an action film because of the title. And he didn't get any of that because it was more documentary style than anything. And we were following one person, but everything felt
Uh,
improvised. It almost felt awkward but
mm,
purposeful. I love
okay.
that in filmmaking. I love when a film
See,
is just so like it's not structured in the way that you would think it should be, but
gotcha.
still you're following along and you're in it because you
Okay.
like the way it's making you feel. And it does take a certain type of taste to enjoy this film. There's people that only really enjoy blockbusters. That's it. You go to their house, that's
Yeah,
all they
that's
have at
true.
home is blockbusters.
Yeah,
They love
yeah, yeah.
big cinema, big movies with big stars in them. That's okay.
Right,
There's
right,
nothing
right.
wrong with that. There
No,
that's the beauty of filmmaking, that's the beauty of art.
I like a little bit of everything.
Me too. For me, the campier and the more like, rough around the edges the film is, the more
Mhm.
I love it.
Mm,
I love a good camp. I love charisma. I love
right,
a person bringing in some type of nerve into their character. I like that because it's kind of grounded in theater if you think about it.
right.
So, what about what inspires you? Let's talk about that cuz I had a really interesting conversation with Rick about what inspires him in terms of his comedy. But what inspires Cloud?
I feel like what inspires me is life, like the in and outs of life. What also the things that hit you the deepest, like grief. For example, grief. I lost my father 4 years ago, and I recently lost a very dear friend of mine. She was like a sister, and
Sorry to hear that.
thank you. And that I feel like the fact that you know you're going to die even more is just like these people moved on and you're still here. Especially her story. You cannot waste what you're doing here. Like, especially if somebody's struggling the way that she did. You cannot waste what you're doing. Like, and you can complain. Yes, you're allowed to complain, but I just feel like inspiration to me is living each day as if it's new, and my daughter inspires that for me because kids see things as if everything is a wonder to them. When to us, it's like a girl. Like sometimes you'll be like, "What are you talking about?" Like, but that if we can see the in the eyes like children see, you'll be inspired by anything and everything. And I feel like anything and everything inspires me if I allow it to. Because if I'm stuck in my brain or stressed out about something, I'm not gonna allow it to. And I'm inspired by nature. I'm inspired. I'm spiritual when it comes to like I love being outdoors, connecting with the trees, connecting with nature, the ocean especially. I'm inspired by all of that. I'm inspired by people, being in community, hearing stories, learning from other people, different cultures. That inspires me too.
What's your favorite place to go to write? Do you have a corner, a coffee shop, anything like that? What's your favorite place to go and write? Next to your daughter? Could be anything.
My favorite place is outside, wherever it is. So at night, this is what I've been doing at night. So you know that they have you heard of like the happy jar? Some people every year they have so they call it the happy jar, where every day you put something that made you happy. You write something that made you happy every day. You take a little piece of paper and you put it in that jar. And at the end of the year, you're gonna read everything that made you happy. And that helps somebody who is probably feeling down or whatever. But what I chose to do, I instead of a happy jar, I did a praise myself jar. So every night before I go to bed, I write what do I praise myself of for that day. So it reminds me to give myself grace, and also that no matter what happens, you need to praise yourself and be like, "Hey, you did good with this. You did good cleaning whatever the heck it was. It could be even something little. Like I chose to not snap at somebody at work, even though I wanted to. Tell them off. I don't know, I'm
That's
proud of
me
myself
every
for
day,
snapping at
Cloud.
somebody at work
That's
and
me
not
every
being
day.
silent. The other way around. But I chose to do that for myself to remind myself, like, you know what, you got this. And no matter what's happening, what you're going through, you got this. So I started doing that like in February, and I that's like my little thing. So I would say that that's my go-to place every night before I go to bed. Then I add my gratitude, of course, with it as well, like what I'm grateful for, just to remind myself, like, just the little things, just to be appreciative of the little things.
Yeah. I love that. And I think that's a great segue to my next question because as you're talking about praising yourself and what inspires you and what you do, I'm interested in what inspired some of the work that you've done. I know you send me over some stuff and I love them. I love them all.
That's right.
You and Ricky You and Rick are just so I mean, you guys are just so talented when it comes down to telling your story. That's not something that is easy. Like people look at it and they're gonna go, I can do that. And then you get up there and you realize that's not as easy as it looks. There is just a lot of vulnerability you have to have. You have to be able to just be yourself. And when you're on a stage and people are staring at you and being like,
Just think
and
about
you gotta
yourself.
start talking about the things that are uncomfortable to talk about. It's a
Right,
very
right,
difficult thing, and what
right.
you and Rick has shown me, or at least have been inspiring me, because you guys honestly have been inspiring me,
Thank you.
is to be comfortable in that space. 2 back-to-back questions on that, because one is gonna talk about women in the world of art that I wanna kinda touch on. But this one, I wanna talk about one of your performances that I saw. You were talking about your child, and you were talking about your experience having a baby and going through the changes in your body. How that came about? Like, walk me through that process leading up to the stage, because 'cause I'm really curious as to how you were
Possible
able
how
to
I
just
got
be
to
like,
share that story.
"Yeah."
So that's from when back when Rick told me, "Hey, write about you." Before I got pregnant, I was writing about like how I grew up. And then when I got pregnant, I was writing everything because my intention is to have a one woman show.
Mhm.
So while me writing all this and having all this compilation of all the pages that I had and have, I said, I'm going to do storytelling so that it could help me on my journey for my woman show. So the more I put myself there to share this vulnerability about me, because this is new to me, I'm an actor, right? But doing storytelling and sharing your own story, this is you. And yes, as
Mhm.
an actor, you are vulnerable in many ways, but
Yeah.
you're vulnerable playing a character, even though that character is a part of you, but you still have the name of another character, right? But now I'm going up there. This is me, and you're going to
Mm.
hear about my life, not a story about what somebody else wrote. You're going to hear about me, or not a fictional person, right? So that was a big change for me and challenge because I'm a private person. I only share if you ask or we have a one-on-one conversation and things get deep. I'm not afraid to go deep, but I'm not gonna be oversharing it. I'm not an oversharer. And that was a big this, and it still is. This has been such a blessing in my life. And I thank Wind for that. And it gives me the same feeling that I feel when I'm on stage performing as an actor. That same feeling. Like you go up there and I just feel comfortable. I feel at home. I can't explain it. And I know as an artist you can understand what I mean. I can't explain it in words, just that feeling when you're on stage. And for me, it's not because people are clapping. It's just I feel like I'm home there. It's like another place I call home besides my own home. I just feel comfortable there. Like once I get there, I'm like, and I'm enjoying it and I'm in it. And it's such a beautiful thing. Then afterwards, when you're talking to people and people come up to you, oh my God, thank you for this, or I related to this. That's an extra like award for me because I'm like, wow, like that's an extra like in what do you call I can't even find a word, but like that's an extra like, oh my God, I love this because I'm talking to people about it.
I get it. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what it and then only way I didn't even answer your question. The way I came about the story is through me writing it and sharing my experience of wanting to be a mom and the journey it took to be a mom. And that story came out of that. And that was like, okay, I'm gonna share this part of the story of my one woman show and see how that works and how I could rework it. It's kind of like having a stage reading, but not really,
Yeah.
because I'm working my stuff in these storytelling events until you see a final full piece. So this is my opportunity to work that and see what works, what doesn't work, and also being comfortable with my voice because I know my voice, right? But now I have to be comfortable on stage with it because I was always playing other characters and not myself, if that makes sense.
Of course it does. And I think it's wonderful. I think honestly, you should be playing that on your Instagram. Like you should be sharing that a little
I
bit
should
more.
be sharing that. Yeah.
Yeah, because like I said, everybody has a story to tell. Everybody has something that they've been through. Like I have tons of things, more so than not just my experience with my health or me giving up on something that I'm very passionate about,
Mhm.
the constant depression that I was feeling and the sadness that I was going through. There was just a lot. My relationship with my partner and that experience, which was wonderful. He was an amazing addition to my life. And I don't know if I would have been able to be where I am today, no matter in what I'm doing, if it wasn't him on my side.
Right.
So he was a very important part. But I think for me as a woman, and I want to talk about that, women in the arts, specifically women of color in the art, I want to know what do you feel needs to change in the
Mm,
industry? And I'll give you like for me one example. For me, I think there isn't enough conversations about our struggles. There isn't enough conversations about what we go through. And a lot of the times when I look at Hollywood and how they portray women of color in a lot of these films, it's always with the same kind of over sexualized content or being very on the negative side or on the petty side. It's never really stories that grounds us in a lot of ways. I'm not saying that they don't exist, but I'm saying that there's more room for improvement in that area. There's also more stories to tell about our struggles. One of the things that I love was that this year I decided to do my first casting and I went and did background work for a filmmaker from New York, an amazing director, an amazing filmmaker that I got to meet during this process. Because again, I'm reconnecting with this world. I'm learning about who are the artists in New York? Who are they? What are they doing? What are they working on? Yeah, and I was honestly, I didn't know what to expect. I did not
mm,
know what to expect. I did not know what to think. I just went over there literally cold turkey. It was like, just show up. Don't
good
worry
for
about
you,
whether you know
girl.
the artist. Don't worry about whether you even understand what's going on or what you're going to do. Just go and show up because if you overthink it, you're not going to do it. So I
Exactly.
just showed up and I started talking to people there. I got to know some wonderful people,
Uh-huh.
got to know some of her friends, people that know about her, got to
Mm,
hear how they spoke about her work and how she's up there with some of the best,
that's wonderful.
in
You
our
gotta send me a link.
community. And it was wonderful to hear that her father was there, so it was nice seeing her family
Wow,
there as well, kind of
that's
being
you.
part of the background, actors that she casted for those scenes. And she was talking about the stories that she wanted to tell, specifically stories of women who lose children due to malpractice because
Mm,
of the lack of attention and the lack of health that is accessible to women in those areas as well, in the Bronx area, and they lose their lives. They also lose their children because of that neglect. And I thought the story was so passionate, and I'm learning all of this on this day. Do you
Wow, that's
understand
a
me? I'm learning
great
all of it
movie
because
to
like
be
I
a
told you,
background actor for, to be
yeah,
honest.
and I had to show an emotion I haven't shown in a very long time, which is the vulnerability or like being able to tap into that. Luckily, I wasn't casted for for the lead role because I would have I would have been like, I don't think I'm ready for this. But
You could have done it.
it was I love the actors in it too. Like I was able to see also some of the main characters as well. It was nice. It was
Mhm.
really well done. I saw
That's
the
awesome. I'm glad
passion.
you had that experience.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience. I was like, very, very grateful to be there and look forward to seeing the story because
Right,
that's really what it comes down to. I really look forward to seeing how she's going to tell the story because I know how passionate she is about it, the hard work she's putting behind it, being able to speak for these women, being able to speak for these for our voices, for
right.
mothers. So that's really has been my experience lately in realizing like, man, there's still so much we have to
Yeah.
do. There's
Mhm.
still so much we need to do. So I wonder what your experience have been like, and what do you think still needs to change in the industry?
Well, independently, I think the work is there independently and grassroots wise. It's there. The problem is that the people that control like the media in Hollywood, they don't want that. And obviously in that world, yes, there's some movies that have been come out like I love Ava DuVernay, like, she's one of my favorite directors, women, and what she's all about. Like, she's one of the people that I look up to as a creative artist. I feel like her content, what she brings out there, brings out our stories. There's a few, but the problem is that there's only a few women, and obviously, that's why for me, like, I feel I'm not doing what I do for Hollywood. I'm doing it for the people who are going to hear and going to listen because to be honest, our community, we have so much power and had we had to be greenlit by Hollywood, they would be making so much money because we do have a community and we do have the people who are going to back it up. The unfortunate circumstance is that these people who own these systems, the system is not for us. And I'm not going to live my life saying, oh, the system is not for me. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to keep doing what I'm going to do. And I'm hoping that it'll reach to whoever's meant to reach. Like that's where my mindset is because there's no way that I can fight this system if it's been here for forever. Yes, if we get together, everybody, and it's not only like black, white, woman, gay, man, I think everybody needs to
Everybody.
get to everybody
Everybody.
needs to get it.
100% agree.
Don't separate yourself by gender, color, creed, country. If we all humans, even aliens, because I know there's aliens out there that are good,
You can join us. Be
if
the
we all
human allies.
no, if we all come together, we can change whole lot of things. But the problem is that the system is built to separate, and that's the problem. That's what I feel about that.
I have young women close to me who are artists. My boyfriend's sister is an actress. She went to school for
Mm,
theater, and my sister went to school for dance. She's a little
look at
bit
that.
older. She's in her
Right.
late 20s. She's still a
Right.
young woman, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's still very young.
I met a woman the other day that's probably her late 60s, and she just started tap dancing, and she's amazing. She told me she started tap dancing like maybe a year ago when her son passed away unexpectedly, and he was young. And she's dancing, she's with a little group, and she's like advanced. And this lady's like in her close to 70 years old.
My God, but in my improv, you know what I mean? Like in my
So,
improv classes that I started taking, I see people of all ages there.
right.
All ages.
Same in
It's
our improv too.
amazing to see them just show up and be so good as well.
Yep.
I just be like, "Oh my God, this is what I wanna be." I don't care about being famous. I just wanna be able to, like, have
Yeah.
the energy and the
Right.
spirit and the willingness to get up and do something
Right.
fun and do something
Right.
creative. Oh my God, I love it. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's never too late. But like I was saying, these are young women who I love everything that they do, love everything that they're pursuing because I know I was in their shoes not too long ago. And you were in their shoes not too long ago. What advice will you give young artists right now, maybe in their teens, early 20s, late 20s?
I would tell them, go for it. Research, research, research. Don't. yes, you can go after what you want. Don't let nobody stop you. Do your research, please, and you have to put in the work. Nothing's gonna come to you. Nobody's gonna hand anything in your hand. You have to put in the work and don't give up. Don't let the no's be a reason for you to even want to pursue it even more. Be honest with yourself, and also you will know if it's meant for you because you'll know by your spirit. If it's something that you truly want, you're going to go after it. So be honest, go after it, do your research, ask questions, and try everything. And you'll know what will work for you and what doesn't. Because sometimes if you just stick with one thing, you might learn something else and you're like, wait, but I like that. But don't try it all at once. Of course, dedicate your time to one thing at a time. But if there's something that you want, the sky's the limit, like they say. You just have to put in the work. You have to put in the work, be disciplined, be on time, be 20, 30 minutes before, put in the work and do your research.
Remember, you arrived there 15 minutes, 20 minutes early. You're on
Yeah.
time. That's
Right.
on time, unfortunately.
Organized. Be organized, please.
Be organized. I think
Communicate.
I love
Communicate
that.
is
I
important.
love
If
that.
you're gonna be
Yeah.
late, if you just communicate
Yeah. I
and
mean,
not through
listen.
text. Call somebody.
Cool. What are some of the worst auditions you had? Talking about auditions, like, what are some of the worst ones you've had? Like, do you remember any like bad
I hate it.
experiences?
Like I did all those like background work where you stand on the line outside for hours. And the worst one was one. It was for I think a Spike Lee movie and it was freaking cold as fuck outside. And I even got sick. But I wanted to be in it because it was a Spike Lee movie and I
I
forgot.
mean, hello.
And as I look back, I'm like, why the did I? Even though I got in, I was a background person in it. But I'm like, I put in the work for this, but then I'm like, why did I get online and got sick for? Like, I look back and I'm like, why did they do that to people, like to humans? Have you stand outside in the freezing? And
It's
I
for
did this.
anything. It's for any. It's for comedy.
And I did this. And
It's
I'm like,
crazy.
no shade to that because I put in the work. But then there was a moment that I said, I've been there, done all the background, I paid my dues. I'm not doing this anymore. But then there was some that there were smaller projects that I loved dearly. And it reminded me of your experience where you got to meet great people that you're still in contact with, that you got like the project had substance. And
No,
that's what I
this
look for.
one,
I
I
look for
want to do
things that
more
have
things like this.
substance, that are
Yeah.
honest, that are
Yeah.
gonna make you think, that are gonna challenge your brain, make
Yeah.
you feel.
That is gonna
That's
teach
what
you
I look
something that is gonna continue to help you learn. I mean, I've always known about neglect in this in the health industry when it comes down to people of lower income, working class people, people of color, because I just talked about my health concern, right? But I never been a mother, right? So those are things I never been. And just hearing about these stories, I just like, man, this is deep. And the fact that I love it because it's also a sci-fi, which is
for.
amazing. I love what you said earlier about like, there are out there. The stories are out there. People are
There's
talking about it.
they're not being.
It's not like they're the voices are not there. They're there. It's just Hollywood is
It's
not
the
amplifying it.
underground. You know how the music, "Oh, I got the underground music. This band is dope." That's how it
Yeah,
is.
yeah. And that's the reason I'm on this journey because I felt like I left it behind thinking to myself it was not meant to be. You know, that very defeatist, negative mentality.
Yeah, girl.
I was like, it's not meant to be. It's not me. I'm gonna become a marketer.
That was your brain, like, denying it, in other words.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
100%. Because my brain,
Plus, when
I
you're
had
in that state
convinced
of mind.
myself.
Yeah, when
Because
you're in
when I
that
was
state of
in high
mind.
school, I had convinced myself this is how I'm going to become an actress, which is a terrible thing. But
Mm,
you know what I mean? Like you were working towards that. It's not like you were doing it out of
right,
bad faith. You were just
right.
working really hard to become a serious actor in New York, serious working actor in New York, right? But then when that happened to me, I was just like, I'm never going to become, no one is going to
But it's
want to hire
understandable
me.
because
I'm never going to get an
yeah,
audition.
right,
No
right.
one is gonna want a girl that looks like this. I'm just gonna quit. And I just
But
quit
that's
and
understandable from the
pursued
state of
a
mind you were
career.
in. The state of mind you were in at that time is gonna put you there, and you had to go through it so that you can go back and look at it and say, "No, that's not true," and look at where you are now. So sometimes lives, right?
It happens. And another thing too, like, you getting out of your brain too, right? Like, you
Yeah.
getting out of
You
your
have to
head,
get
like,
out. Yeah.
yeah, you gotta show people your personality as well, because what's gonna gravitate to you is gonna gravitate to you, and whatever
Right.
is not is gonna stay away from you.
And
So
if
you
you're
gotta just
honest,
show up. Yeah.
right. If you're honest, if you're not hiding who you are, then people are gonna know off the bat anyway.
Absolutely. Like, there's a couple of things that I'm looking forward to attending, like in New York. I'm looking forward to Rick's show in October, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Soba.
There's just gonna be a lot of things that I'm going to be doing. I wish I could do it all. I wish that was my full-time job where I just show up
Right.
to events, but
Right.
unfortunately, I do I do have a
Then
career, I do have a job, but I'm trying to balance both, and I'm like showing up because, like I said, it's what's gonna gravitate towards you. It is. You just gotta be there. You gotta show up.
yeah.
You gotta support these artists. You gotta show up for their film. I was at a film screening. One of my friends who is also part of this channel with me, we tend to review films together, and his name
Oh,
is
that's
Alvaro Franco, and he did a documentary on his trip to Cuba called Nuestra America.
oh, you
And
were telling me about that.
yeah, and I
Oh, I wanna
reposted
see
it.
it.
He did an amazing job. I had done a documentary like that, very similar, but in Dominican Republic. And he helped me
Nice.
kind of upload it onto YouTube. So me and him
Show it
we
to
go
me.
way back. We go way back.
Send it
So
to me. I wanna watch it.
absolutely, I'll send you the video. I'm trying to re-upload it, but the thing about this documentary that I did in Dominican Republic, like, I interviewed people there, and it was also about a specific situation that was happening to this community of Dominican and
Mhm.
Haitians living together. So the
Mm.
problem with that is I have to
Wow.
kind of update it. I got to give a disclaimer. I cannot just put it out there like if it's a brand new. So there's a lot of
Right.
things that I have to change and re-edit. I also gotta kind of make certain disclaimers, gotta cut certain interviews shorter because I might need their permission again. So there's a
Right.
lot of things that I want to be mindful of because it is very interview heavy. So there's things
Gotcha.
that I want to, yeah, things that I want to be
Okay.
mindful of. So
Well,
there's going to
congrats
be
on that. That sounds like
an
I
editor's
would
cut of
love
it.
to see I would love to watch that because that's another topic that's much needed to be out there too.
Well, those are very important. Those are very important about, like, how other countries live, how people are living in other countries. That kind of representation is important too, because we always thinking about, oh, poor me. And I'm like, the whole world is suffering.
Yeah,
To your
that's
point, you were
true.
saying that earlier. Like, we need to all come together. This is not
Yeah,
just, it's not just you. It's not just you as a gender. It's not just
yeah.
you as a race. It's not just you as a culture. This is all of us are suffering. We're all
Yep,
going through something really bad. But the way that, that this blockade and just the foreign affairs between America and Cuba, it's very interesting to see how much the Cuban people have been suffering because of this pettiness between, you know, governments. So it's really crazy to see that. But he was able to document most of his experiences, and I thought it was lovely to
oh,
see that.
nice.
But there were so many great films there. There was a film. There was this director who was talking about his grandmother, and he was talking about his journey being a Puerto Rican but not speaking Spanish, and finding that
Okay,
connection between himself and his mom. They were just so many people who, I was able to watch their films. I was able to see how they're telling stories about their culture, telling
right.
stories about their experience. And there was a universal language there because a lot of them weren't
Wow.
even in English. A lot of them weren't even in
Yep,
English, but I was able to understand what was happening. And this is why I
I
need to
love you
come
showed
back
it.
to the because that was what I know, the feeling I get and how happy I am when I'm around that versus when
Mhm.
I'm not. And it's
Right,
just work and me coming home and worrying about this and worrying about that. But when I sit down and I see somebody telling me a story, it hits different. I feel like I had a therapy session. I feel connected at a human level, not just through this digital
right,
shit, you know?
right.
So it was an
Those are the
awesome
beautiful
experience.
places to be in, especially not always. Like that just brings me joy when you're around places like that and that community stories that matter. It's such beautiful that you got to experience that and that it's still happening. And
It's
again,
awesome because, like, again, what you said earlier was so spot on. These stories are out there. People are
yeah,
talking about them. You know what I mean? People
it's just
are
not,
putting
oh, we know, it's not. out there, and, you know?
I'm just wondering where are all these directors, coming into into these neighborhoods and seeing these screenings. Like, come on, man. These talented
That's
artists
insane.
are out here
There's
writing and making films. Let's go.
so many talented artists, and it's but you
It's
gotta keep
incredible.
going. You can't be like, "Oh,"
You got to keep going.
keep going, and it'll reach who it needs to reach. You got
Exactly.
that's what you have to worry about, especially in this day and age. Advice for younger people:
Mm.
don't rely on social media, please. Don't. Meaning, you yes, put your stuff out there, but just because you got 4 likes or whatever, like, don't let that worry you. Do it because you're passionate. You believe in yourself. Doesn't matter what other people think. Just do it and reach the communities you need to reach. And if somebody doesn't like it, that's okay. Keep going. You know,
Absolutely. It's you can't rely on social media as an artist. You just can't.
you
You
have to
rely
put in
on
the
it
work,
to share it
right?
and to
You have
spread
to
the
put in the
word,
work,
but you can't
right?
rely of it to dictate or
The
to
only
inform.
thing, yeah.
Exactly. Because at
Don't
the end
let
of
that be
the day,
known.
you
That's
gotta
just
be
a
who you
pet.
gotta be. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a what do you call that? Like a tool that you use, but it's not the main tool.
Distribution. Distribution. That's
Right,
all it is.
distribution. That's the word.
Distribution. Get your stuff out there and then that's it. And there's people you remember the public networks. You remember the
Yeah,
public networks back in the
yeah,
days? That
yes,
used to
yeah.
be people's
And we used
Instagram.
to
That
watch it
used
a
to
lot.
be
They
people's
still out there though, right?
Yeah,
The
they are.
BronxNet and Manhattan Neighborhood
They are, but
Network.
they're now yeah, they're
They
technically they
still
are.
around? They
Yeah,
didn't
they're
cancel
still
them, did
around.
they?
Not
Okay.
100% though. No. They're still around.
Right,
I think PBS is still around, which was the
right.
really big one, but I have to look into that. I don't know what's happening with public television right now
Gotcha.
because I remember somebody mentioning it, and it doesn't sound like it's what it used to be, where you just showed up with
Right,
your fee, your own production, and you just put it out there, and it was on TV.
right.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? Nowadays, I think there's more. There's more you have to go through.
More
Yeah,
red tape.
YouTube came around,
Right.
and you
Which
know
is
what?
that's why these platforms are great because you can reach anybody unless they decide to block you, the systems that be, but that's what's great
Exactly.
about the
Exactly.
digital era that we're in.
No, now you have this platform. Now you don't even need to go
But
through
just
any
don't let it
system.
define you. That's what I mean to the youngsters. Don't let that define you and what
You
you're doing.
can, you can. Art
Yeah.
is something that you have to have life experiences. You have to have experiences. And
Right.
if you're online 90% of the time, how are you getting inspired?
Right. Right.
Like
Like
how are
going into
you
rooms like you did or
Yeah.
I did in storytelling or that film festival that you were in.
Oh
You
my
won't
god, it
see
was
that if
fantastic.
had you we don't go. If you don't
The
go, you're not gonna see that.
Shout out to the Bronx Independent Cinema Center. They're the ones who put it together. The Bronx Independent Cinema Center. Go and support. Go and show these artists, give them some attention, give them some support. Talk to them, tell them, they love to talk about their projects. That's something that I also noticed in that event was just how
Nice.
passionate they were to talk about what they did. And that's so lovely. That's such a
It
lovely thing.
is.
You know what I
It
mean? So it's so honest, it's so human and I was like, we don't get
yeah.
enough of that. Social media is not doing that. I'm sorry. Is this that
No.
every once in a
You need
while
the
you get a
social
good video?
connect yeah, you need the social connections. It's
You
important.
need the social connection. You need to be
Yeah.
there to talk to that person. Every once in a
Right.
while, yeah, you'll get a good video of
Right.
somebody
It's
saying
not the
something lovely,
same
but
though.
it's not the same if you were in
Yeah.
person with that person and talking about
Right.
what they were saying.
Right.
So yeah,
Right.
it's amazing. Anyways, we gotta wrap this up because like I said, I'm a one woman
We could talk
show.
forever.
I
We could
could
talk
go on forever. Cloud, you've been wonderful. Is there any last words you want to give us? And then, tell us where they could find you.
First of all, thank you so much, Anna, for inviting me to be in your podcast. I'm so honored. Thank you for hearing my stories, watching my stuff, but also just for the person who you are. And I'm very proud of you for pushing through. And, we've talked about that, but I just want to say I'm very proud of you for pushing through. I don't know you for a long time, but I can tell how passionate you are. And I want you to know that keep that passion alive because you got something special going. So don't stop.
Thank you. I can't wait to meet you guys in October. I am so super excited and I'm so happy for you and Rick and all the work that you guys are doing. Thank you for
And
for inspiring me, continue inspiring others. If you were able to do that to me, get me to go to these improvs. Get me to start going to these classes. If you could do that to me, I'm pretty sure that if you continue putting your work out there, you're going to do it to someone else. So thank you
thank you
so
for
much
that
for being
message. please believe in yourself,
Yes,
connect
we
with people socially, put in the
connect with
work,
me.
and connect with Anna.
Subscribe.
Watch Vamos a Reír, New Yorkers. Uh,
Yeah.
we're selling tickets already,
Yes.
so you can buy your ticket to Vamos a Reír. Let's laugh a little, and we'll see you in New York.
I'm definitely gonna put the tickets
You can
to
put my
that
Instagram
event.
on. It's
I'll
private,
put
but
the Instagram. All of that is
yeah.
gonna be there. Tickets to his show in October, which Cloud was part of that production. So definitely go and support. Cloud, thank you so much again for being on my
Thank
podcast.
you.
And thank you for being on ScreenOpti. I'll see you in screens.
Bye.